Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the exciting session of a Fireside Chat on Payment 2.0, navigating the next phase of payments. We have with us Chandra Srikanth, consulting editor, ET Now, along with Mr. Mahendra Nerurkar, Chief Executive Officer, Amazon Pay India. May I request now Chandra to please take over the conversation.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us on this special fireside of the Global FinTech Festival. I must say, I'm quite relieved that we're doing this fireside virtually because in the real world, this would be the time when people would, leave the hall to grab their dinner plates and queue up in the buffet. But I'm hopeful that all of you are sitting where you are, grabbing dinner, and hopefully we will keep you entertained for the next half an hour through this insightful conversation. But thank you all very much for tuning in a special fireside. Mahendra Nerurkar, welcome to the fireside, welcome to the chat. We've had so many exciting sessions throughout the day that really went on to show the strides that India has made in digital payments and also what we can expect in the next phase. Take us through Amazon Pay's own journey because you're a veteran of Amazon. You started in Amazon even before years before they went live in India. You were part of the the team that had Jungli here, and then you transitioned to payments. So take us through Amazon Pay's journey in India and how it's been.
Hey, thank you, Chandra, and thank you for having me here. I hope you're doing well. These are crazy times, and I'm glad we are able to connect through this medium and chat. So thanks very much again. So I think talking about Amazon Pay and how it all started for us here in India is we have a very simple mission, which is to make digital payments trusted, convenient, and rewarding for everyone. And that mission is born out of a very fundamental need. So if you think about any apartment community or any housing community, it needs to have electricity, it needs to have water, it needs to have sewage. Similarly, when you think about any online business, it needs to have some fundamental utilities. It needs to have a good telecommunication infrastructure. In an e-commerce business like ours, it needs to have a good logistics infrastructure, and it needs to have a good payments infrastructure, right? And so if you think about when Amazon was started back in the late 90s in the US, all those three pillars were built pretty strong, right? You had the Visas and the MasterCards doing payments, you had the USPS and UPS doing logistics, you had the AT&Ts and the Verizons doing telecom. Flash forward to now in India, we realize that there are huge strides that we are making as a country in telecom, in logistics, and in payments. And as we look at where we are and where we can be in the next 10, 15 years, payments seems like one area where we felt that as Amazon, in logistics, of course, we had made huge investments to make sure that we are able to deliver with a great deal of speed and promise to all corners of India. But payments was that other pillar where we realized that there is a lot of customer problems to be solved and value to be created. Because in India, you have many different customer segments, right? You have the deeply cash habituated customer to all the way what we call digital natives who are used to swiping their cards in all places and everyone in between. So our wedded to our mission, we have what we believe is every customer needs a different payment experience. So if you're a cash habituated customer, we allow you the service to load cash at your doorstep and start paying digitally. If you're a credit habituated customer, we give you a credit card that gives you the best rewards in the industry. And then if you're someone in the middle, you're a digital native trying to use digital payments everywhere, we have UPI. And then if you're somebody who is just about becoming credit worthy and new to credit, we have pay later. So we believe that the customer segments are pretty heterogeneous, and we need to have bespoke products for each of these customer segments.
Right.
So the journey has been quite exciting because we started as a wallet provider 3-4 years ago. And now, if you think about it, we support all payment instruments. We no longer just serve Amazon, the shopping marketplace, as a merchant. We offer the whole spectrum of categories and use cases that a customer would want to use every day, whether it is a money transfer, or a bill payment, or paying a merchant offline, or paying any online merchants, and so on and so forth. So it's been quite a journey. And we just believe that if we serve every customer uniquely, we'll be okay.
Right. If I look at the growth that you've seen in UPI in particular, I mean, NPCI itself recorded huge volumes. It crossed 1 billion transactions in the last month. And Amazon Pay too has sort of grown at a scorching pace of growth. 200% month on month, I read somewhere, 60 million transactions. Of course, it's coming off a lower base. So, even if you ignore the percentage, it is a huge number, and you're fourth behind Google Pay and Phone Pay and Paytm. So take us through the kind of growth that you're seeing in UPI, and did this happen because of COVID? I mean, has it accelerated because of the pandemic in the last few months, the adoption that you're seeing?
I think there are two, three things that are driving it. One is UPI itself as a ecosystem is, like you mentioned, growing at the rate of knots, right? Even before the pandemic, it was growing pretty fast, and it will continue to grow. And so that when you couple with the fact that you have a single app that allows you to do not just bill payments and money transfers, but also allows you to use your UPI account to do all your shopping orders. So suddenly now you're seeing the usefulness of UPI increase multifold. And in the situation like a pandemic where a lot of your purchases, a lot of your spends are going digital, you are seeing that as an added tailwind. I think where we are seeing a lot of interesting growth from is we are seeing consumers adopt the whole spectrum of services within our app as they're coming. So they're using that UPI not only for doing a bill payment or a money transfer, but they're using it equally to buy their grocery, right? And so I think what it is doing is it is really familiarizing customers with a whole new way of paying, not just for the digital utility services, but also the physical goods that they were used to buying. And in addition to that, UPI is one of those things which is based on a money transfer network. So as more and more people join it, your rate of growth does increase exponentially. So that's kind of the phase we are going through. We had a bunch of new features that we launched. We launched on iOS. We launched a bunch of new services for customers, both on the app as well as offline. And so all those are culminating into this growth that you are seeing recently, which we expect will sustain in the months and quarters to come.
Right, exactly. In fact, that was what I was coming to. Is this going to sustain? Is it, a sustainable phenomenon, the kind of growth that you have seen, the uptick you have seen? And secondly, what trends can you tell us about the demographics? And you've already mentioned a wide range of use cases, but in terms of demographics, what patterns are you seeing? Because IMI data, they came out with data a few months back, which said the number of internet users in rural India has exceeded that of urban India. So, in terms of demographics, what patterns are you seeing now?
So we are seeing patterns which pretty much mimic yeah. So I think we are seeing patterns which pretty much mimic the rate of internet growth in India, right? And if you think about Amazon and just fundamentally where we are getting customers from, it is no longer just from the tier one and tier two. It is from all over India. And then, I'm sorry, are you able to hear me? Okay.
Yes, yes, I am.
And so payments is no different. So payments, we are seeing growth from all over. So if you look at our the billers that our customers are paying bills at, they are from all over the country. They are not just from the big cities. They are not just from the tier two cities. They are from the tier four, tier five cities as well. If you look at the small merchants that we are acquiring, they are not just again in the big cities. They're number 30 and number 40 cities and beyond. So I think you are seeing a seminal shift towards digital payments. And UPI is definitely the biggest catalyst that is driving it. What we are also seeing is we are seeing multiple customer segments across these demographics adopted. So it is not only people who are new to digital or people who don't have credit cards. It is just a simple payment experience that everybody is adopting. So you may even have a credit card, but just the convenience of using that same handle everywhere is pretty compelling. So you're seeing all kinds of customers adopt to UPI for certain use cases just for its simplicity. It's just one of the most convenient ways to pay from your bank.
Right. And today, yeah, and today, in fact, you had NPCI launching a UPI auto pay, where you can set up recurring payments for a range of use cases, from EMIs to bill payments to investments. What sort of a game changer is that going to be? Because this was long awaited, the next phase of payments 2.0. What opportunities do you see here?
I think we have just scratched the surface. We've just scratched the surface, and there is a lot more innovation to come. I think UPI 2.0 is a big wave. Whether it is the e-mandate that can really make pay on delivery super convenient for customers, as well as more sustainable for merchants. I just set up a mandate. My money really doesn't get deducted from my bank account. On delivery, my money goes. I think it's a fantastic experience. I think it's not yet fully utilized in the industry. I believe it's a disruptive feature. I think recurring payments, auto payments, I think is the future. So as you look at digital content becoming big, subscription services are going to become big. The moment subscription services become big, you need a very simple, viable way to make small ticket recurring payments easy. And autopay is going to help you do that. So if you think about not just the method of payment, but the different occasions of payment that customers go through, I think we're going to see a transformation. Today we are just talking about swiping a card or entering an OTP to complete a payment. I think we're going to see a lot of innovation on the different purchase occasions that customers pay for. What I believe you're also going to see is the form factor of payments are going to change. So you previously had cash or a plastic that has already gone mobile. Most of us now pay a lot of our payments through the mobile device, whether it is digitally online or digitally offline. I think there will be certain use cases which will go voice. So we are already seeing use cases like bill payments being done through Alexa. So customers are just setting up their bill and saying, "Hey, Alexa, pay my bill," or they're checking their bills through Alexa, because it's just so much more convenient. It is secure. And instead of me having to check my phone and look at my screen and enter the amount, etc., Alexa is actually telling you that, hey, you have a 1,000 rupee bill from Bestcom. Do you want me to pay it for you? So I think you're going to see a lot of innovation in multiple fronts. Methods of payment actually have been innovated on. Different points at which payments can be made, we will see a lot of innovation there. Subscriptions, auto pay will be a big needle mover, and then different form factors through which customers will be making payments.
Right.
It will no longer be plastic or GUI.
Right. In fact, we are getting a lot of questions. I'm just going to take a couple of questions more with you, and then we'll start addressing some of the questions coming from Q&A window. So earlier this evening, we also heard WhatsApp is India Head talking about how payments is just one service, but they want to now carry out pilots to offer a whole range of services over the next few years. So they're talking about insurance and micro payments and micro credits and pensions. Also play a huge role in digitizing SMEs. So what is your larger ambition? What other financial services will we see Amazon Pay foraying into?
So, I mean, we are already out there, and we are making some inroads into these spaces. See, fundamentally, what we are trying to solve for is how to get cash customers into digital mode of payment. And then as they get into digital payments, how to enable them with more services that can help them fulfill their dreams, right? So if you're talking about a digital customer, fine, I have 5,000 rupees in my bank account or 10,000 rupees in my bank account. If on the 28th of the month, I want to buy something that is 3,000 rupees worth, I have to check into my bank account to see if I can afford it. Or if not, I defer until I get my paycheck to make that purchase. Now you can make that customer's journey very simple by saying that, hey, I can issue you a small line of credit such that you don't have to keep looking whether you have the money at that point in time or now. You can conveniently pay later. So that's where Amazon Pay Later comes in, right? So it is not a big flashy credit card. It's a small credit line that just allows you to fulfill your dreams at that time that you want to pay for it, right? So
sorry, go on, Mahesh.
And so if you think about the penetration of credit cards in this country, only 2.5% customers in this country have credit cards, 2 to 3%, right? And what needs to be solved for is to enabling a much larger set of customers to learn to use credit responsibly, right? And I think there is, and hence I completely agree with him. The opportunity to create micro credit products, give it to customers at the point of sale, allow them to use, sign up for them seamlessly, use them seamlessly, repay seamlessly, I think is a big opportunity. And then beyond credit, there are a bunch of opportunities in terms of insurance, how we educate people to protect their assets, whether it is automobiles, whether it is health, life, and so on and so forth. So I think all these you will see wealth management, insurance, credit. It's a cycle that will ensue once more and more customers get comfortable with digital payments.
In fact, insurance is something that you are going live with, right? I mean, you have plans there, so maybe you can share your plans for an insurance foray with us.
No, absolutely. So again, it's one of those things which we have learned from our customers that it is a need for customers, because buying insurance typically is not an easy purchase. There's a lot of fine print. People have to read through a lot of details. There is a lot of selling that happens to them, whereas customers just want to make an easy, transparent decision. The claims process in insurance is pretty tricky. So a lot of customer feedback around saying, "Hey, can you quote unquote Amazonify insurance? Can you make it very simple, right? Can you make it simple? And if we have a problem, can you just solve it for us?" So that problem statement really energized us, right? So we don't look at it saying, "Hey, we are a payments player or a financial services player." It was just a problem statement that the team found a great deal of empathy with and energy from, and so that's kind of where we started. And we have launched now auto insurance and two-wheeler insurance. We also launched a COVID-specific product for our sellers, where they could take COVID-specific insurance. So I think there is a lot of opportunity again as we think about micro insurance products, whether when you're buying a product on Amazon or whether you're buying a flight ticket, you're taking a cab ride. So you will see a lot of innovation in all those spaces from us in coming months.
Right. Mahindra, I'm just going to address some of the questions that have come up on the Q&A window. What's your point of view on revenue models for payment-based fintechs? Given the competition and the government mandates, margins seem to be getting very thin.
No, I think it's a great question. I think you will need to. It is no longer a industry where you can extract rents by having a certain position in the supply chain. It's an industry which is moving on innovation. So the rate of innovation, the amount of innovation per unit time that you're able to crank out will determine how much revenues you can make. I think conventional revenues, which are around payment processing, we are already seeing a lot of pressure on. But where you might see more invention is in different players being able to offer value-added services, both to customers as well as merchants, right? So whether it is credit, whether it is insurance, whether it is advertising, these are all different kinds of products and service revenue streams that you could create. I think basic payments, if you're just saying, "Hey, I'm enabling a customer to pay from her bank account and I will make money on it," I mean, that's a old school business model. I think just as the technologies are reinventing themselves,
Your value
I think this
proposition
will
has to
lead to
change.
absolutely, and you're seeing a lot of that happen. You're seeing a lot of really creative value propositions which are really focused on specific customer segments, and this whole notion of open APIs and neobanks that cater to very specific customer segments. You have a farmer's neobank and a teacher's neobank, creating very specific niche products, and those products do get a lot of adoption. So I think I'm super excited about the potential to serve different customer needs. And if you think about merchants and customers equally as customers, I think there's a lot of opportunity to create value and extract value.
Right. One more question. What's your view on lending on the POS and pay later feature? Do you see it overtaking credit card-based payments? You touched upon the pay later feature, but if you have a specific answer on this.
I see. I think they're complementary products. So I think even the same customer, for example, I mean, if I just look at my example, I use both products at the right points in time for the right set of use cases, right? If I want to buy a flight ticket, I will use my credit card, right? But if I want to make a quick purchase on, if I just want to quickly pay my bill or quickly buy something on a food delivery app, I'm more likely to put it on pay later. It's like my small khata that I'll just quickly settle in the next 15 days, right? So I think both of those products I feel are complementary. I don't think they are competitive. Now, there might be certain pockets where you might see some competition from the two. But I think credit cards, if you think about it, just are far more ubiquitously accepted in terms of offline, in terms of online. I think pay later still is an emerging value proposition. It might take several more quarters where it becomes truly ubiquitous, where it is accepted in as many places online as it is offline, and so on and so forth. So I think it's some ways to go. It really will matter in terms of which customer segments you try to serve these products with. Because the credit card market has been very focused on a certain segment of customers, where pay later can really expand the pie is to serve customers who are actually new to credit, right? And those
Right.
customers over time, as they build their credit history, so to speak, can then become eligible for credit cards. So I think I see it as more of a training ground for people to start using responsibly, and then graduate to a higher order credit product in the form of a credit card. So I think they're more
Right.
complementary than competitive.
Right. And how do you think the B2B payments landscape will evolve? And how is Amazon planning to tap the same? Interestingly, I think you also launched the smart stores offering recently to tap into this whole the Kirana segment. So perhaps you can tell us about this.
Yeah, so I think our focus, at least for Amazon Pay, is still very consumer to merchant. So we are not yet looking to solve business to business payments. But
Hmm.
since you talked about smart store, our focus is, see, I think just as I said, there are two trends. I think there are three, in fact. So one is payment methods and occasions of payments evolving, form factors of payments evolving. I think customers and merchants will demand more from payment players,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And so our smart store is our attempt at making not just payments contactless, but the entire shopping journey in an offline store contactless, right? So if I'm in a store, I really don't need to touch, feel different products. I'm in the store,
Right.
I'm seeing them, right? But I don't need to really go and put everything in a cart myself and then take it over there and so on and so forth. If instead I'm able to look at the entire inventory in the store, if I'm able to evaluate each product, I can read reviews on it, I can watch videos on it, I can build my own little basket, and then I just say, okay, I want to buy these. Somebody picks those products for you, brings them to the front, or you can just go and go walk out and come back 10 minutes later, and they're ready there for you. You get a fully digital bill, so you don't have to even keep the bill somewhere in your wallet and somebody stamps it. It's a digital bill. You just pick the bag and you walk out, right? So I think to me, the benefit of this to the consumer is you're saving her time,
Right.
right? Instead of the benefit of this to the merchant is you are helping them actually train their customers what products to buy without needing like too many salespeople going around selling the product, right? So if I'm in a store and if I want to understand, hey, like, should I be buying this phone versus that phone? Should I be buying this washing machine versus that washing machine? I mean, here you can do it just looking at your phone. You can just compare products. You can look at customer reviews. You can just buy it right there. So it really creates value both for the customer and the merchant. And so making more and more of these experiences real, I think is where, in my view, the landscape will move. Is you need to create more value for customers and merchants in this. You can't just hold on to core payments as the only offering.
Right. An interesting question on voice payments. Talking about voice payments, how do you see voice being used as a second factor authentication for payments? In fact, you just mentioned a while back about how you can just ask Alexa to help you with various functions. So how do you see this evolving?
No, absolutely. I think we have to in this. See, I think one of the great things that I feel we have done in India is really made the second factor, multi-factor authentication happen, because of which you see the trust in digital payments being higher, the fraud rates being lower, and so on and so
Right,
forth. So I think,
right.
multi-factor is crucial. At the same time, the way it has been implemented does have a lot of friction points, right? So we have to keep inventing on the second factor and how to make it more seamless. And I think voice does present a very exciting frontier because everybody's voice uh, is
Yeah,
unique,
is
right?
unique.
And I think using that, it'll take some time for us to perfect the technology and make it robust, and make it sort of regulatorily kosher. But I'm very optimistic that these kind of technologies, biometric technologies, voice technologies, are the ones which will be the future. And particularly for 2FA, I think voice can really be a disruptive force. So we are very bullish about it. We are working on it.
Right. When you look at we're approaching the last 5 minutes, I think. So I have a broader question on the India landscape, Mahindra. A lot of international players who operate here talk about how experiments and templates that they are working on in India have the potential to be applied all over the world. It's something that, they will take global. UPI, for example, is one example that many countries now want to emulate. So similar to that, are there India first or India specific innovations from Amazon Pay that you now want to implement in the developed markets or even in your home market back in the US?
So I wouldn't call it a home market. India is as much of a home market for us as anywhere else. I think there are, right. Like, so I think, for example, what we are doing with cash load at doorstep is a very powerful offering. There are many countries, developing and developed, that require this offering. We had, for example, a cash offering in the US where
Hmm.
different farm customers could go to different stores and load cash. And what we are finding is the offering that we have in India, where our delivery agents actually help customers load cash into their wallet, is far more successful because it is just at the point of delivery, and like we are not asking the customer to go to any store. So it just makes it far more convenient for the customers to opt in. So it's something that we believe that there is a need for customers, not just in India but elsewhere, which we would look at taking global. Some of the other innovations also in terms of voice, I think India is actually doing building services and building products ahead of the global curve. So I think those are again products which we feel very proud of, and I think have global applicability. And the last piece is on things like credit. So particularly on pay later, and how we are. See, I think we believe in the marketplace concept at the very heart of our DNA, right? And essentially, we are enabling a lending marketplace to create these pay later products that consumers can use. So again, that I believe will have global applicability as well.
Right. Final question. What do you think of the competitive landscape in India? The internet market is often a winner takes all segment, but in India, in pretty much every segment, you have multiple players. What do you make of the payment landscape? Do you see consolidation happening here? Is there room for 3 players, 4 players, 5 players, 2, 3 years down the line as this explodes?
See, if I think about payments and digital payments, right,
Hmm.
90% of payments in this country are still cash,
Hmm. So the
right?
market
Less
is
than
huge. The
10%,
opportunity is huge.
less, right? And the customer needs, the merchant needs are so diverse that I have no doubt that you fast forward 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, there'll be multiple large payment players serving very large market segments within payments and across payments. So I am a optimist. I believe that um, cash will get displaced by digital payments in a big way. We will have a less cash society. We're still a long way away from that, right? I mean, I think we are We're just scratching the surface. It is largely the first quote unquote proverbial 100 million or first 50 million that are really adopting digital payments still. There is a whole rest of India that is still earning in cash, spending in cash. The only stores that they buy from are only accepting cash. So there's a lot of transformation that is still to be done. So I think it's too premature to talk competition and two players and winner take all and all those different things. I think it's uh, even in internet businesses, you have multiple players serving different customer needs in the same market segment. So I don't think payments will be different.
Okay. On that note, thank you very much, Mahindra Nerukar, for really to Amazon Pay's journey and for giving us an overview of what is next in the exciting world of payments and fintech. But thank you very much for joining us on the special fireside at the Global FinTech Festival.
My pleasure. Thank you, Chandra.
Well, thank you, Chandra, and thank you, Manju, for a wonderful session. With that, we end our event for the day in this hall. We look forward to meeting you all tomorrow for another day of exciting sessions. Goodbye, stay safe.